Hello everyone, welcome to Full Moon Movies. There are films that tell stories, and there are films that feel like hallucinations, and cinematic experiences that pull you into a fevered dream of obsession, power, and madness. Werner Herzog's Aguirre, The Wrath of God, is that kind of film. The 4K restoration by Shout Studios transforms this haunting masterpiece into an even more immersed descent into human arrogance and existential doom, where nature does not merely serve as a backdrop, but as an indifferent god devouring man's illusions. From the first image, conquistadors winding through the mist-covered Andes mountain in a single file line that looks more like ants crawling into the mouth of death. Here, Herzog establishes a tone of spiritual terror. This is not the heroic age of exploration we were taught in history books. This is the death of man's soul in real time. The expedition, led by the ambitious and increasingly deranged Don Lope de Aguirre, played by the chilling intensity by Klaus Kinski, who embarks on a doomed quest for El Dorado, a mythical city of gold that becomes less of a destination and more of a psychological abyss. Now, Klaus Kinski's performance in Aguirre is one of the greatest portrayals of madness in film history. He is not a caricature of insanity. In fact, he is ice cold conviction without morality. His stillness is more terrifying than any outburst. Even his walk is unsettling, which is stiff, angular, detached from the earth itself. Aguirre sees himself not merely as a leader, but as a destiny incarnate. In one of his most iconic lines, he declares, "I'm the wrath of God. The earth I pass will see me and tremble." It is a line not delivered in arrogance, but in revelation. Aguirre sees himself as chosen, even as his followers die one by one. The character arcs are not about redemption or transformation, but they are about spiritual, moral, and physical. Don Fernando de Guzman, the so-called emperor crowned in the jungle, becomes a symbol of colonial delusion, wrapped in royal garments while starving to death. Inez, the noble woman played by Helena Rojo, who transforms from aristocratic grace to spectral resignation. And the priest Caspar de Carvajal represents religion's complicity in conquest, documenting genocide in the name of God with chilling calmness. Each character reflects a pillar of empire, military might, aristocracy, faith, and Herzog systematically destroys them in the unforgiving mirror of nature. Herzog does not present nature as hostile or satanic. Nature is indifferent. The jungle does not fight the conquistadors. It simply absorbs them. The river does not rage with purpose. Instead, it exists, eternal, while human ambition ebbs away into nothingness. Now, the 4K restoration heightens this effect. Every ripple on the water is a pulse from the earth itself. Every strand of the mist is a breath older than civilization. The jungle, in pristine Ultra HD clarity, becomes a character, silent, patient, and eternal. The oppressive humidity, the muted greens and browns, the stillness of the canopy, this is not just lush beauty. In fact, it is a visual suffocation. The HDR does not beautify the landscapes, instead it reveals its raw truth. Man is not master, but intruder, and nature does not acknowledge his existence. Now, when it comes to the themes of obsession, imperialism, and the collapse of the order, at its core, Aguirre is a film about delusion. The myth of El Dorado is not about gold, it is about human desire to believe that destiny owes us greatness. Herzog strips away every illusion of colonial nobility. The Spanish expedition does not bring civilization, it brings greed, violence, and arrogance. Aguirre is about the embodiment of all empire, that the belief that one man's will can bend the universe. His journey is not across land, but into madness. Now, as the film progresses, order collapses, discipline falls away, hunger, disease, and paranoia consumes the group. The raft becomes a drifting coffin instead. By the end, Aguirre stands alone among the corpses and monkeys, declaring his intention to found a pure dynasty with his own daughter, which is his final act of delusion, proclaiming conquest over a world that has already raised him. Now let's talk a bit about the cinematography and sound from this marvelous movie. Herzog's filmed entirely on location in the Amazon, refusing sets of special effects. The result is pure authenticity. The 4K transfer enhances this through the grain and texture of the 16mm film, preserving its rawness. Unlike modern digital restorations, the sanitized older films, Shaw Studios maintains these organic imperfections, adding depth and realism. The ambient sounds like the buzz of insects, the distant call of birds, and the relentless of churn of river emerge with haunting clarity in DTS HD 5.1. Popov's eternal choral score floats through the film like the voice of a forgotten god, never overpowering, always haunting, turning every moment into ritual. Upon its release, Aguirre received widespread acclaim in Europe but was initially underappreciated in America. Some critics found it too slow, too bleak, too devoid of traditional plot structure. But over time, it has become to be regarded as one of the greatest films ever made, which is a foundational work of art cinema. Its influence is immeasurable. Filmmakers like Coppola, from Apocalypse Now, Malick, and Inarritu draw directly from Herzog's descent into madness narrative form. Today, Aguirre is recognized not only as Herzog's masterpiece, but as one of the most important films ever made on the subject of power and madness. Now, the bonus features in this package include Herzog's commentary, equally fascinating and unsettling, along with the behind-the-scenes documentaries that reveal the chaotic production, including real danger faced by the cast and crew. In conclusion, Aguirre is a Wrath of God is not a film about history. It is a film about the timeless truth of human ambition. It shows how the quest of greatness often leads not to glory, but to madness. It reminds us that the greatest dangers do not come from nature or our enemies, but from the delusions we carry within. In the final frame, Aguirre stands alone, commanding an empire of corpses, the river flowing endlessly onwards. It is one of the most haunting endings in film history, not because it shocks us, but because it reveals a truth we dare not to face, and that is, those who seek to conquer the world often end up conquering nothing except their own destruction. Now, this movie is a must-watch.